I had a feeling that Donna was a very empathetic listener and someone who would get the most authentic stories from my parents. I wanted to capture my parents' testimonials for my young children. I was an older parent, and I'm very glad that I did it when we did. One of my parents ended up having some health problems, and it was a great comfort when we were in the hospital to know that we had done this exercise and that she had a lot of peace knowing that we had done it as well. So I would just urge anyone who's considering this to not delay. Life is always uncertain, and it's best to capture these stories when folks are feeling well, and when they're in their prime, and when they're in a joyful place to speak about the richness of their lives. I asked for Donna to do this recording for us because I felt like she would get more memorable stories from my parents. I felt like they would be more comfortable speaking with Donna than they might be speaking directly with me as their daughter. I also knew that with young children in my house, I was not going to be able to have the time to put together a video myself, even though I had the skills to do that. So for me, this was, again, the peace of mind, and also to feel like we were going to get the best stories from across the whole breadth of their time, not just the time that they had been my parents. When I first asked Donna to video my parents, I felt like the hour and a half might be a long amount of time. But then I thought that they both have been around for over 70 years. So 70 years times two people is a lot of life, particularly when we're also speaking about the family histories and some of their time before they met each other. And so really what we found was the time flew, and the end result was extremely rich. Donna did a great job editing it down into a very concise video for us, but we really did need the time to cover all of the topics from such a long and productive life. Sonderful did a great job putting chapter headers in for us. They were quite specific about the topics being discussed, and so it's easy to jump back and forth and get to the topics you'd like to skip to. Well, we always knew that our children were going to be asked about the family history, where they came from, some of their, national origins. And so we knew that this would be a real treasure trove for future generations to use. But what we hadn't anticipated was how much interest we had amongst the extended family, people who knew my parents as aunts and uncles and cousins, and they were really excited to actually hear more about their childhood or what happened after they had left the hometown. And so this has been a video that's been shared between family members, and I think it will continue to be passed down for generations to come. It speaks a lot to the history of the family. Donna's never a stranger. You speak to Donna for 5 minutes and she's part of your family. So I think that's the way my parents felt, and that's why they had such a great interview with Donna. When I first asked my parents to do this interview, they were very hesitant. The first reaction was, who would want to listen to me talk for that period of time? And I assured them that me and the grandkids would be very, very eager to hear some of the answers to the questions. And it can be very hard to wrangle octogenarians, but Donna did a great job. She made the tech setup very easy for my parents, and we had a wonderful quality of production. So I wouldn't say that it was too difficult to get them on board once they understood how simple it would be, and they just had to sit down and bring themselves to the table. They said it was incredibly helpful to them that they were called upon to remember things that they had forgotten from their childhood and from their story of how they met. So my parents actually really enjoyed it once they were done with it, and they felt like it had reconnected them to some parts of their lives they had forgotten. I think the Zoom worked very well instead of being an in-person interview, because it allowed my parents to do it on their time frame. It was very easy for them. So it really let them relax into their own living room without having to play host to a camera crew that I think would have put them on edge. I think one of the challenges with the written narratives, and I did actually ask my parents to do that. I actually asked my grandfather to do that. There's no immediate feedback to the writer. that tells them that this is valued and that they need to continue doing it. And so I found that my parents just struggled to make time. They did a couple for me, but we never got the complete picture. I also wanted my youngest, I have a 4-year-old son, I wanted him to be able to see his grandparents in action. And that's something that can't be conveyed through writing. Even though I have so many videos I've taken of my own children, they're moments in time. They don't carry the depth of the kind of thoughtful questions that I'd like Donna to ask my children. And I'd also like to be able to sit back and let someone else drive the process. I think I'll get a different response from my children than if mom or dad was asking them the questions. And so I'm looking forward to Donna documenting my boys at various stages of their development so I can look back and remember what they were like. And hear some of their thoughts in a different way than I do with my home videos. I would like to do it at this phase so that my children can see me as a mom and can also be closer to some of those memories from earlier in my life. I don't think it's a good thing to wait. Life is uncertain, and you never know how much time you have to share the memories. So I think there is something for your clients about, what are you waiting for?